Welcome to a bittersweet edition, the Monday edition of the Morning Cup of Bucky here on MadtownBadgers.com. Well, let's just dive right in. The big albatross, the big L to end the regular season as the Badgers go down 77-68 to the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Obviously, UW's hopes for a number one seed in the NCAA tournament go up in flames along with that. But there are bigger issues at hand, such as, should UW be worried about its future in the NCAA tournament? Could someone find Sam Dekker, because the guy we've seen the last few weeks isn't the guy we were sold? And should UW be flattered by the position they are in? After all, they've been court-stormed twice this season. That's right, folks. We're going to be talking about all of that here on the Morning Cup of Bucky. First things first, why or why not should we be worried about the future for the Badgers in the NCAA tournament? Are they going to flame out, or are they going to rise to the occasion? Part of me wants to say they're going to rise to the occasion. Part of me says they could just as easily flame out. And they could just as easily flame out because they've got a major hole in their game, and that's defensive issues in the paint. They seem not to be able to handle teams that can drive at them, that are aggressive to the basket. You know, we saw that in the loss to Indiana. We saw that in the loss to Minnesota before the loss to Indiana. And we saw it again against Nebraska. And we saw it some other times, and Wisconsin seemed to have the issue corrected, but then it reared its ugly head again. And that's the problem. Wisconsin seems to not be able to make the adjustments necessary in-game against those types of teams. Whether it should be a very simple adjustment. Punish them when they come to the lane. Make them physically pay a price for doing so. And I think that's the issue. Nobody's scared to go into the lane against Wisconsin. Even Indiana, when Wisconsin was packing it in, wasn't afraid to drive. It was just that they were playing four guys in the lane. You couldn't physically drive into the lane anymore. And Indiana couldn't shoot from outside. So what did Wisconsin do in this game? They tried to pack it in a little bit, but then they failed to realize that Nebraska is a pretty good jump shooting basketball team, and they made the Badgers pay. That being said, the reason why I'm not 100% worried about the UW future in the NCAA tournament is very simple. Wisconsin's not the only team with holes going into the NCAA tournament. In fact, there is not a single team this season that you say, oh gee, there's a team UW has no shot at beating. They can compete with any team. And that's because just like Wisconsin's got issues, they all have issues. Whether it's three-point shooting defense, whether it's the issue Wisconsin has, whether it's a rebounding issue, whether it's they can't shoot the ball to save their lives as a jump shooting team. Whatever the issues are, there's no team that you can't point to that doesn't have a glaring weakness. And that includes Wichita State, which is perfect on the season heading into the NCAA tournament. So that all being said, either Wisconsin's going to go deep, they're going to go into the Sweet 16, Elite 8 area, or they're going to flame out completely. I don't see it going anywhere else but one of those two ways in the NCAA tournament. But for me, it all points to one person being key, and that is Sam Dekker. And that's because he came up big in games against Iowa and Indiana, 15 points against the Hawkeyes, and in Carver Hawkeye, 16 against the Hoosiers at home. However, just 18 points in the last 3 games, not good enough for a guy that was supposed to have NBA aspirations. He's failed to score in double figures in 5 Big Ten conference games. He's topped the 20-point mark just once in conference play. And for me, that's a sign of a guy not able to take over a game against the top-level competition. And he should be doing that for the Badgers. He's the most versatile player they've got, and he should be the guy that, when things aren't going right, pulls this team on his back and wills them to victory. It's coming more from Nigel Hayes than it comes from Sam Dekker, and that shouldn't be the case for the Badgers. That being said, if we see the real Sam Dekker reemerge in the NCAA tournament, teams are going to have issues. It's on Sam Dekker to figure it out for himself. We've seen it in him before, it's just not there right now. That being said, it also brings up the point of the last time Sam Dekker scored 20 points was in a loss at Minnesota earlier in Big Ten play where Wisconsin got court-stormed. To that end, Wisconsin got court-stormed twice in a season, once early and once late. That speaks to the ability of the Badgers to string together a nice series of results at certain points of the season to make teams really value a win against you. And it's been a long time since the Badgers have been court-stormed or thought of that highly by multiple opponents during the season. So that being said, the Badgers have a level of prestige to them this year. They just need to own it, and they need to get back to winning basketball games. I think it starts in the Big Ten tournament with an interesting matchup. It could be Iowa that they match up with in the quarterfinals. That would be an interesting matchup to see happen. And then Michigan State in the semis if it all holds true. But Lord knows the Big Ten tournament come Thursday will be very interesting. We'll preview it a little bit on Wednesday's Morning Cup of Bucky and talk about all of the Big Ten tournament there. That being said, it's been fun talking to you this morning. Hopefully you enjoy your day. And thank you for tuning in to the Morning Cup of Bucky here on Madtown Badgers.